In that time, Europe was going through a period of rapid change. These various economic, political, and social crises and new migratory flows tested the result of 60 years of hard work for the construction of the European Union. Two different tendencies opposed. Those who wanted to reinforce European unity and those who questioned the legitimacy of the Union and wanted to lead it. Our project aimed to rediscover the initial values of the European Union and to promote the development of the key competence of citizenship by studying European issues closely and by discussing these issues. Our students have developed a skill that will allow them to deal with complex situations and to analyze them from different points of view. They learn to avoid easy solutions, to give in dangerous stereotypes or new forms of racism and xenophobia. During the 2 years, students have explored the migratory phenomena through different perspectives, such as institutional, historical, artistic, and human ones. Finally, they created a charter for empower the inclusion of newcomer migrant students. We hope it will be ratified and used in European schools. Let's ask to illustrate on the charter.
We call underage children migrating to countries of the European Union, regardless of their origin. It guarantees the respect of fundamental rights as defined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as defined according to the principles stipulated in the 1989 International Convention of Children's Rights, as well as by the Council of Europe Charter regarding education towards democratic citizenship and education towards human rights adopted in 2010. This charter is the final result of a 2-year project called Inclusive Schools for an Inclusive Society from 2017 to 2019 under the Erasmus Plus program co-funded by the European Union. This charter was collaboratively written by the following
According to the first article of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, all human beings are born free and equal and should be treated the same way. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience, and they should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. Thus, all members of the educational community should act in this spirit to guarantee fair treatment of every student.
For example, everybody should be accepted and respected in the schools, regardless of their differences like religion, skin color, nationality, etc. To implement this policy, schools should not watch the legal status and ID documents of the underage students to accept them.
School can organize events to celebrate the different cultural traditions of the newcomers.
This illustration shows that everybody should be able to go to the school and get an education to learn the importance of respecting each other in order to create an atmosphere of brotherhood and peace.
A newcomer shall not suffer any discrimination, injustice, or ill treatment due to his or her origin, ethnic groups, religious beliefs or creed, physical appearance, nationality or juridical status, in order to be able to fit in the educational system.
For example, school should educate the local students to welcome the newcomers, and school should also make more prevention against the discrimination and the harassment.
In the picture, the person is a migrant below raining cloud, which represent many discrimination. The other two persons are holding their hands to help him. The two persons are in front of the school. In fact, they represent immigrant good integration in the Union European system.
Newcomers are entitled to the right of being accepted and helped according to their needs based on their age and school experience. Each school shall support and scaffold the newcomers through a variety of interactional techniques. The goal is to provide the student with a greater understanding and independence throughout the learning process. This allows a more effective inclusion in a specific school according to the principles of the International Convention of Children's Rights.
The newcomers can do an entry test to determine their level on each subject. Depending on the result, there may be a curricular adjustment to adapt the contents to the student's capacity.
All these books represent every problem that immigrants have to deal with when they arrive to school. Some of these problems are language, way of life, and administration of paperwork.
Their goal is to gradually reach their inclusion in the new country, and this chain of people are helping each other throughout their way up in their educational process. The educational institutions shall give the newcomers the means to find their bearings and understand how the school is run.
This illustration represents a migrant student arriving in school and the school welcoming the students. The character representing the school is holding a book with the rules written on it in different languages to make it accessible to students of many different nationalities. The character standing for the educational institution is in green, symbol of hope. This means that the school believes in the arriving students and in his or her potential to understand this new education system, which is completely foreign to the newcomer, and that it believes in his or her abilities to reach academic success.
For example, the school who welcome the migrants will translate all the documents in different languages. The documents could be translated in both languages, the language of the migrants and the language of the welcoming country. This will allow the migrants to understand all the official documents, like rule of the school, grade book, or form, or any other documents. This seems a good place to start learning the languages of the welcoming country.
Making a multilingual illustrated guide available to improve their understanding could be an example of improving the welcoming of migrant students on the same basis of the Charter. The drawings will be associated with the text.
Receiving newcomers into school involves accompanying them throughout administrative duties in order to improve inclusion, the educating community, and the whole school shall promote the mentoring of newcomers by students specifically trained for this task.
For example, a volunteer program has to be created across the European Union in order to train students to better accompany or to guide migrant students or newcomers into the paperwork.
and this will favor a better integration of the migrant students by creating bonds with people of the same age.
This picture represents the difficulty to go through all administrative tasks. For this reason, we can see a local school community member helping migrant students dealing with administrative tasks, which are represented by a pile of documents and a computer.
The school's normative assessment of migrant students shall be suspended for time during the adaptation period. Consequently, a suitable assessment system valuing efforts and success shall be arranged.
On this picture, we can see teacher assessing a student without giving marks and underlying the positive aspect of his work. For example, instead of giving grades to students or during exam, the teacher should congratulate them for their oral participation or their interaction with the group.
We can imagine to work on exams based on competencies instead of traditional exams to show the students what they already know, what to improve on and what they already know.
Also, there will be a progressive assessment system that adjusts to the level of the students.
In order to provide easier access to local and national culture for newcomers, the educational community shall work towards setting up steps in this direction and implement activities such as school trips, visits to museums, libraries, cultural shows, and various projects based on learning different cultures. This article was created to ease the integration of the immigrant students in the welcoming country. The educational community would have to teach them their culture, so these tutors would present different possibilities, different activities that the student could take part in. This article encourages schools to organize activities such as traveling, going to museums, or visiting other we drew this illustration to explain the ninth article. We thought that it was better if we highlighted the different paths the migrant student could take. Those different paths lead to different examples of sharing culture. The play represents traveling, and the person playing guitar represents concert. The teacher is also important because he leads the children to walk those paths. We decide to use natural color for the children in order to highlight the fact that there are no differences between them. Each school has the responsibility to ensure its participants develop the necessary competence throughout the educational process to raise awareness on the topic of the inclusion of migrants.
For example, it will be useful to organize meetings, debates, conferences, and cultural events with the help of experts in order to improve awareness on the topic of migration.
So this picture has been created in order to illustrate Article 10. As can you see, there is a migrant student who just graduated. He's carrying his diploma, which represents the competencies he learned at school. Next to him, there is a speech bubble with the word hello written in different languages, as Italian, Bulgarian, Spanish, French, and Arabic, in order to express unity and inclusion. The path from the school to the world symbolizes how education gives access to a happier and more accepting world.
Well, I think it's great. It's great. I could repeat my speech again now and say that I'd like to congratulate you. But maybe I will ask you what is the next now. you have a charter. It would be great if you manage to share with the other schools and to involve as many, not only students, but I would say especially teachers and schools management. So, do you have any further plans now? Yes.
Yes, hello, I'm Anacha from the Education Department. I have a question for you, but first of all, I just wanted to say also thank you for this presentation, but also thank you for your engagement in this topic that is so important nowadays, but it is also going to be important in the decades to come, in the decades when you are going to become the active citizens and you are going to be the actors for change. So I was reading a bit more about your project, about what you did up to now, and I've seen that you also did interviews with refugees, which I found that is very, very important. Now, I don't know if some of you who did the interviews are now here, but I would be interested to hear about your experiences from these talks with the refugees. And also maybe to talk a bit more about the fact that you're coming from very, very different environments. I mean, you're coming from Bulgaria, Italy, France, and Spain, which has different migrant policies, integration policies, and I'm wondering, have you noticed any differences in your experiences during these interviews or project in general? Thank you so much.
While you talk to them, we have seen that the most difficult thing when we arrived in a foreign country was the language, because it was hard for them to get understand and to learn things. So they were happy that we worked on such a project, because it showed that we care about those difficulties and that we are aware of this. And myself, for this project, I discovered that the aspect of migration was different in the other countries, and it was really interesting because while we talked with other people, for example in Bulgaria, we have seen that even though that we believed different things about the migrants, we have seen that we all have common history, that migrants came in our country by bringing us knowledge and things that makes us make us improve our society. So this project shows us that immigration can be really important for the country, and that if we work together in cooperation, we can improve the situation, and that brings hope. So that's all I have to say.
Maybe memories that the migrants did not want to remember, but I think the experience was very eye-opening. We shared stories, we talked with everybody, and it was very interesting. And also, when I think working on the project, everybody was very, very important, because we don't have only like Italians, French, or Spanish people. We also have like Moroccan as myself, or Algerian. We have Chinese people, Taiwanese people, and we have a lot of like different like countries. And I think it is very, very important to share experiences and to maybe give to others like important values that we learned in our own countries.
With the immigrants, particularly in our school, we have 5 immigrant Syrian students. The experience that they shared, right now they're very well immigrated, and they have a lot of friends, and they feel really welcome in Bulgaria. But they shared that firstly they felt really isolated. They didn't felt like home, and they didn't felt this was the right decision that they made. But maybe now, when we talk to them, they said that they did the right decision, and they are feeling amazing in here, in Bulgaria. And the whole thing is that we shouldn't isolate someone just because they look different, have a different culture, or a different religion beliefs, and that's it.
It's very general, and I will try to compress the answer. As you know, well, you are under the Erasmus program, so European Union program, Council of Europe has much broader. We have 47 member states. And the role of the Council of Europe, if I really compress it, is to, in fact, to preserve peace in Europe through the respect of human rights, rule of law, and by supporting democracy. Because democracies usually they don't go to war, or less often than other regimes. So we do it through three main areas of activities: through standard setting, we set standards, then through monitoring. We have monitoring bodies. We have the court, which is a very unique system to monitor how these standards are respected, and then through cooperation. So also to help our member states to fulfill these standards that they have agreed upon. So that was very compressed answer. The role of the Council of Europe in migration field, in the field of migration. Well, we do the same, in fact. We do the same, only now, since 2015, when we have seen the really massive migration flows into Europe. We try more to assist the member states, our member states, to face these challenges which are linked to this massive migration flows. Because when you have these flows and the states are not prepared for it, then of course the states incline not to always respect all rights, basic human rights that are they have engaged to. So this is our role. That this is also why this position of the special representative was created by the Secretary General, especially to assist, to go to the states, to see the situation on the ground, to go to fact-finding missions, to report back, and to give recommendations to the organizations how we could assist. And it can be in different areas, and we try to have a holistic approach, not only to immediately react, but also to do it from a broader perspective, to also address the xenophobia, the racism, which are linked to migration, of course, as well, and the changing climate in the society. And this is what was mentioned here, seeing the perception of newcomers, and this is, I think, now one of the most important challenges, how to change the perception of newcomers that we have. I don't think in whole Europe, but in many European states. Third question I got is that if migrant students got a diploma, what can they do with if they aren't allowed to work? Well, I think here we can to make distinction between different status of migrants. You have asylum seekers, you have refugees, and then of course migrants who can be without any protection status and who can be also returned back to their countries or to the third countries. So those who got diploma and refugees, they are normally allowed to get the work also. Also for asylum seekers in many countries, when you are an asylum seeker, you are allowed to work. But even for those who then will be sent back, I think it's still good to have a diploma, or it's not so important to have a diploma, but rather to have knowledge that what you have learned, that you can also use in your country, or I mean in the country to where you are, you will go. Why do migrants have trouble with political visibility, even though they work for the country they migrate to? I think this can change over time. What do you mean by political visibility? Is it visibility given to you by politicians? I mean, to migrants?
Parliaments, in the elections.
Because nowadays migrants have quite important political visibility, which is not positive. It's a very negative visibility. We have to work to turn it into the positive one. But then political visibility as a representatives of migrants. This is, I think we have many examples in Europe of migrants who succeeded in politics. It takes some time. But if we take, for example, the mayor of London, is a migrant as well. The migrants. The problem is that the migrants usually they don't have voting rights. So that's why they are not so of interest for politicians.
It's an area in which migrants want to go. In the Brexit context, always we consider Europe going to deal with both migrants. I was wondering, because of Brexit and the fact that I don't know if they want to leave or not, and the referendums for migrants, or will it?
The Secretary General asked me to focus my activities on migrant children, and especially on unaccompanied ones. So during my fact-finding missions, I really paid attention to the situations of these children, and I gathered information about their situation, about the challenges, and I put it into the thematic report where I addressed all the main challenges that I have seen on the ground. And we have prepared an action plan of protecting migrant refugee children. You have, I think you got the copies. And well, we put concrete actions how to improve the situations of these children. And the three main actions, in three main areas: ensuring access to rights and child-friendly procedures, then to providing effective protection, especially from violence of these children, and then to enhance integration. As far as the integration is concerned, we have again already achieved some concrete results. In the field of education, I already mentioned two concrete instruments that we have, and this is the linguistic integration of migrants, which is a tool for the volunteers who want to teach, are not professionals, but would like to teach migrants languages. Or the other one is a European qualification passport for refugees. And this is for those who arrive without any documents proving their qualification. So this is an instrument how to assess what they have learned in their countries, what qualifications they have, to give them a kind of diploma or attestation, and they can study, they can continue their studies, or they can also get a job based on this. So we are also now working on recommendations for transition to adulthood, because in many cases when you are minor and you turn 18, even if you pursue education, if you pursue formation, when you are 18 everything stops, and then you are not prepared for life in the country. So we advocate that member states should continue to support these young people, even when they reach 18, till they finish their formation or their studies. So these are only a few examples. We want to be as concrete as possible and really to see the results on the ground.